Most people never see the office after 6 p.m., but I see everything. I see the coffee stains they leave behind, the fingerprints on the glass doors, the crumpled papers shoved into bins, and sometimes what they forget. That night, it was a laptop, left open, unlocked, sitting alone on the desk of the only office with a view. I could have ignored it, could have shut it, could have walked away. But instead, I left a note. Just a few words, nothing special, something my mother used to say, respect the things people value even if they forget to. A week later, I got called to the 22nd floor, but not to clean it. This time, someone was waiting for me. My name is Maria, I'm 33, and for the last 5 years, I've cleaned the same office building every night while the rest of the city sleeps. No one sees me. That's not a complaint, just the truth. By the time I arrive, the lights are dimmed, the elevators are slow, and the only sounds are the ones I make, the wheels of my cart, the soft spray of glass cleaner, the hum of the floor buffer. It's a rhythm I know better than any music. I used to imagine a different life. I wanted to study business, thought maybe I'd run my own cafe or open a bookstore with a little reading nook and cinnamon rolls that made people feel like they were home. But life doesn't always follow dreams. My mom got sick, medical bills added up, the scholarship I was counting on disappeared, and suddenly my dream was replaced by a uniform, a badge that opened supply closets, and a mop that never stopped moving. People don't see the cleaners, not the ones who come in when the workday ends, not the ones who wipe away the evidence of ambition. The coffee rings, the ink stains, the quiet messes made in the name of productivity. And that's okay. I never expected applause, but I never expected to stay invisible either. Some nights are harder than others. The nights when I miss dinner because I worked a double shift. The nights when the elevator lights flicker and I wonder what it would feel like to stand on the 22nd floor for a reason other than emptying trash bins. The nights I think about my mom, what she gave up so I could have a chance, and how little I've done with that chance so far. But still, I show up. I clean every surface like someone will notice. I align the chairs. I refill the candy jars. I sweep the lobby twice, even though no one's tracking dirt at 11:30 at night. Because it's what I have. And because there's a strange kind of dignity in doing something well, even when no one's watching. That's why when I found the laptop, glowing faintly in the dark, sitting open on the corner desk of the only office with real windows, I didn't think opportunity. I thought responsibility, and I did the only thing that felt right. I left a note, just a small one, a few words. But sometimes that's all it takes to change everything. It was nearly midnight when I reached the top floor. Floor 22. It always took longer to clean. Fewer people worked up there, but everything had to be perfect. The kind of clean that didn't just look good, but looked untouched. Like the space itself had never been lived in. Big offices with glass walls, marble conference tables, brand name espresso machines that no one cleaned but me. That night, the place was silent as usual, but one office wasn't dark. There was a soft blue glow spilling out under the frosted glass door. I stepped closer, careful not to make noise. The desk at the end of the room, the one facing the skyline, still had a laptop on it. Screen up, still humming. An open Word document on display, spreadsheets behind it, email pings still coming through like the day hadn't ended yet. I stood there for a moment debating what to do. Part of me thought, shut it, walk away, don't get involved. But then I thought about how many nights I'd watched this same office from the hallway, wondering what it must be like to sit at that desk, to make the decisions that shape paychecks, policies, futures. And I thought about what it would feel like to forget something important in a place you assume is already closed. I didn't touch the computer. I didn't need to. I found a blank notepad on the corner of the desk, the good kind, thick paper, gold edge, and carefully wrote, "This was still open when I came in. No one touched anything. I cleaned around it and left it just as I found it. You probably had a long day. I hope tomorrow's better. Maria, night staff." Then I folded the note once, clean and precise, and slid it under the edge of the keyboard. I covered the laptop gently with the extra sweater I always kept tied around my waist. Not to be dramatic, just to show someone cared enough to try. That was it. No cameras caught me. No one said thank you. But when I finished the floor and rode the elevator back down to the basement, I felt a strange peace. Like maybe, just maybe, something small had landed where it was meant to, and I never expected to hear about it again. Until the next week, when my name came over the intercom. Maria Torres, please report to floor 22. The front office would like a word. The week after I left the note, I almost forgot about it. Not because it didn't matter, but because I trained myself not to expect anything from doing the right thing. Kindness is quiet work. You sweep, you smile, you hold doors, you return the things people didn't realize they lost, and you keep moving. But that whole week, something small stayed with me. I kept replaying the moment I stood in that office. Not just the glow of the screen or the hum of the city through the glass, but the silence of it, the trust in that space. Someone important, someone who probably hadn't thought about who cleaned their desk in years, had left a piece of their work, their world, wide open. I could have looked. I could have read everything, maybe even copied it, passed it along, made a little trouble. The thought crossed my mind, not because I'm that kind of person, but because I was tired, because my paycheck was already late, because my mother's medication bill had just come in, because I was still wearing shoes that pinched every time I bent to scrub a floor, and because in that moment, I felt like no one would ever know if I didn't do the right thing. But I would. I remembered something my mother told me once, back when I was 16 and furious that she had stopped pursuing a dream of her own just to take care of us. Sometimes dignity is the only wealth a woman can carry without anyone being able to take it from her. I didn't understand that back then, but I did now. So I wrote the note, I cleaned the space, and I left just like always, except I didn't take anything, not even credit. That's why when my name came over the building intercom a week later, I nearly dropped the bag of trash I was carrying. No one calls the cleaning crew up. We get paged down for refills, for mop heads, for someone spilling coffee in the stairwell. But this time I was told, please report to the front office, executive suite, floor 22. And as I rode the elevator back up, the same one I usually took with gloves and a bucket, I realized someone had noticed, and something was about to change. The elevator ride to the 22nd floor felt longer than usual, not just because I was nervous, though I was, but because for the first time I wasn't heading up with a mop in my hands or a checklist in my pocket. This time someone had asked for me. Not the cleaner, not night staff, Maria. When the doors opened, the entire floor was still and brightly lit. Daylight poured in through the wall of windows, making everything look newer than it did at night. I felt out of place, like walking into a movie set where everyone had already memorized the script except me. A receptionist stood from behind the desk and smiled gently. Mr. Adler is expecting you. Right this way. She led me into the same office, the corner one I always cleaned last, the one with the best view of the skyline. The laptop was gone, but he was there, sitting behind the desk in a tailored suit, hair just a little messy, like he'd been thinking too hard to fix it. He stood up as I walked in. Maria, he said, but please sit. I froze. I'm sorry, I said. I didn't mean to. You didn't do anything wrong. Actually, he said, smiling faintly, you might be the only person in this building who did something exactly right. He motioned to the chair across from him. I sat awkwardly, unsure where to look. That laptop you found, it wasn't just any machine. It had reports I hadn't saved, forecasts I needed for a meeting with the board. If anything had happened to it, I could have lost months of work. He leaned forward. But you didn't touch it. You didn't snoop. You didn't leave a post-it with a complaint or roll your eyes and log out. He reached into his desk drawer and pulled out something that made my breath catch. The note, my handwriting, still folded, still intact. You said, I know what it's like to lose what matters. That stuck with me. He looked at me for a long moment, not with pity, not even with curiosity, with recognition. So I looked into your file. I saw how long you have been here. Saw you've never once been late, never once filed a complaint, never once missed a shift. Not even during the blizzard last year, when half my team stayed home. He paused. Why are you cleaning floors when you clearly know what matters? I didn't have an answer, so I told him the truth about my mom, about school, about the scholarship that never came, about how some dreams shrink, not because we give up, but because survival becomes the bigger priority. He listened, really listened. And then he said something I'll never forget. You didn't take anything when you had the chance. So now I'd like to offer you something, not because you need saving, but because you deserve to be seen. I didn't know how to respond. When someone offers you an opportunity you'd buried years ago, not out of weakness, but because the world made you, it's hard to believe it's real. But Mr. Adler wasn't offering charity. He was offering respect. He told me there was an opening on the admin team. Entry level, yes. Answering phones, managing calendars, supporting the people who spent their days behind those tall glass walls. But it came with benefits, a steady salary, and the promise that if I wanted to go back to school, even part-time, the company would help cover it. It's not just about the laptop, he said. It's about who you are when no one's watching. I didn't say yes right away. I went home and sat in silence for hours, thinking about everything I might lose. My schedule, the comfort of routine, the fear of being seen and maybe not being good enough. But then I thought about something else. I thought about my mother, what she gave up, and what she taught me. Dignity is the wealth they can't take. Maybe now I could build a life where I didn't just protect dignity. I could finally grow it. I took the job. I traded my mop for a desk, my gloves for a laptop, my isolation for a seat at the table. It wasn't easy at first. Some people looked at me like I didn't belong. But others remembered. The woman who left a note, the one who could have taken and didn't. And that memory made space. 6 months later, I walked by the janitor's closet on my way to lunch. I stopped just for a second, not out of sadness, but gratitude. It reminded me where I came from and why every floor I scrubbed, every unnoticed detail, was never a waste. Now there's a nameplate on my desk. It reads, Maria Torres, Administrative Assistant, but I keep something else tucked inside the top drawer, a folded note, the same one I left under that laptop. The day someone finally saw me, not as the help, but as a person who mattered. Some doors don't open because you knock louder. They open because you left something behind when no one asked you to. She didn't beg to be noticed, didn't demand credit. She just did the right thing and walked away. Yeah. And that's the day her whole life walked toward her.